All right, we're back, everybody. Melee Creeps versus Popper Pupils, game number 2. Popper's Pupils took a relatively convincing game number 1. Oh, laggy. Twitch lag. Anyway, Popper's Pupils took a pretty convincing game number 1. We'll see what Melee Creeps decide to change up in their game plan for game number 2. And considering the bans are different, we've got Lash and Doorman removed from the game this time around. We will not be seeing the Lash again. Will Popper's Pupils just first pick Pocket? It worked pretty well for him last game. Do they want to try to run it back? Nope. Priority given to Rem, and I do not think that's the wrong choice either. Game number 1, Rem had 63,000 health healed for his allies over the course of that game. That is such an astounding amount of extra HP. And that's why Rem is such a high priority pick. Well, that combined with also being able to like ghost push waves and ghost farm and being overall annoying to catch and deal with, Rem's just a very, very strong support. The response comes out as McGinnis and Abrams. Melee Creeps grab that very strong frontline tank and the McGinnis, who I believe was ignored last game. So a much stronger early game presence on the map from McGinnis and very good scaling coming out of her as well. Her gun is quite strong once it's got some items pumped into it. Popper's Pupils now pick up the Pocket for themselves. Made it look very good in game number 1. We'll see if it looks just as good in game number 2 and grab Mirage as well. So once more, strategy coming about the same. Oh, what is with the lag? It must be on their end because it happens just once in a while. Because I'm not having any drop frames or anything, so I guess it's on them. Sorry about that. And Venator, the last pickup of this picking and banning phase for the Melee Creeps. Didn't look too good in game number 1, but never got a chance to really get his feet off the ground. Was kind of being barreled down upon for most of the game by Popper's Pupils. So maybe a slightly more chill game will look good. And they ban out the Mow and Grill. I said maybe Mow and Grill's worth banning out. Popper's Pupils is making it look very strong. And here it is. Here's a Mow and Grill ban. It does leave Billy on the table if they want to pick Billy up as a frontline tank / team fighter. Now, before we get too far into this, I want to say anyone watching on the YouTube VODs, thank you very much for watching. If you would be so kind as to leave a like, a comment, a subscribe, a follow, whatever, things that make YouTube algorithm happy, that would be great to help grow the Thor WCast channel. I would be forever indebted. All right, now that my shameless self-plug is over, we've got Melee Creeps picking up Viscous for themselves. Popper's Pupils had it last game, so they stole it here. Having the Strength of the Cube available, and of course they could do that fuck-ass build that I keep seeing them do on Viscous in NA, where they run around with Veil Walker and just like poke you for half your health and then run away. Warden being picked up for Popper's Pupils, a hero that was completely ignored in the first map. In fact, completely ignored by NA so far. Now picked up, we saw it picked up both games by buff enjoyers in the EU scene, and buff enjoyers kind of stomped their way to victory. So Warden has looked good today at the very least. And they also grab Apollo. Apollo is a very aggressive lane bully that can look to snowball whatever lane he's in, maybe even make a rotation, depending on just how good the lane goes. And Melee Creeps pick up 2 pick-off heroes, Paradox and Calico. Calico wants to go to you, Paradox wants to pull you to the teammates, but both of them trying to find individual heroes and set up their team to kill them, if not just kill them outright themselves. And the final pick goes Celeste, the way of Popper's Pupils. And I don't know, Celeste has been kind of hit and miss today. A little more miss than hit in these pro games. That's not to say that she's weak or anything. It's just that the early game weakness of the hero, the hero is weak early in the game. Celeste is straight up one of the weakest early game heroes available in Deadlock right now. She got almost all of her power spikes pushed later into the game by a recent patch. And that means that if she doesn't get off to a decent laning start, this hero is gonna have a tough time catching up. She's gonna take a little extra time and extra farm for herself, and she's gonna need that space in order to have a smooth mid-game. The problem is, Popper's Pupils also have Pocket, who want that space, and Mirage, who wants that space, and even Warden, who kind of wants that space. They have a bunch of heroes that want space, and not a lot of heroes to make that space. That's what heroes like having Abrams and Billy can be for, is because those heroes can pressure the enemy just by, like, making themselves appear in one of the lanes and threaten to drop a big ultimate or a shoulder charge stun into the wall and force a fight. Popper's Pupils have very little to force a fight with. They have a lot of chasing. Warden's good at chasing you. Celeste is good at chasing you. Apollo is good at chasing you. Pocket is good at chasing you. But they don't have a lot of lockdown, of hold them in place, of force them to fight. And that might make for a difficult mid-game transition for Popper's Pupils, coming from a couple heroes that are a little weaker in the lane, such as Celeste and potentially Pocket, depending on what the lane matchup is. And moving into a mid-game where you're trying to recover from that, and having 4 heroes that are a little greedy and want some farm, could be tough. Meanwhile, Melee Creeps, they've got something that's a little more standard in Deadlock. They got 2 heroes that really want to farm a lot, in the form of McGinnis and Venator. And then the other 4 heroes are looking to make space for those 2 heroes, looking to find enemies and make plays on them, and quite strong in the early game, and have a smooth transition into the mid-game as long as their lanes don't go horribly. So I want to say Melee Creeps, again, have a draft that I think feels better to play. It's really going to come down to the lanes. If Popper's Pupils come out of the lanes even or ahead, then they're going to be ahead just based on the heroes that they picked. As there are a lot of strong mid-game heroes, and if they can get their farm into the first mid-boss contest timing, which is around the 18 to 21 minute mark, is usually when the first mid-boss contest comes up. You know, someone gets a pick off and then mid-boss gets called. Then Popper's Pupils have a pretty darn strong team for that kind of thing, but so do Melee Creeps. So it's hard to call which team I like better. I feel like Melee Creeps I like better just because of having a little less greed coming out of the lanes. That being said, Popper's Pupils got their hands on Rem again, and despite not having a dedicated, like, frontline tank fight me hero like a Billy or an Abrams or a Mo and Krill, they still got Rem, who can turn any hero into a pseudo frontliner with the amount of healing and resistances that he can pop onto his teammates. Looks like we're about to get into the game, so let me switch us over to that. All right, welcome everybody to game number 2, Popper's Pupils versus Melee Creeps, for who will be the king of NA this week in the Deadlock Night Shift. Right now, Popper's Pupils, the challengers, are one game up over the defending champions for this week. Melee Creeps taking a pretty painful loss in the first game. Looked very, very in favor of Popper's Pupils for most of the game. And they got their hands on some of the heroes that were instrumental toward that first game victory. They got their hands on the Rem again, they got their hands on the Pocket again, who both had amazing game number 1s. That being said, already Pocket having a bit of a tougher time in this second game lane phase than he did in the first one. Being brought to just a quarter of his HP. Or quarter of their HP. Sorry. All right, so going over the lanes, we have in the middle lane a Venator Paradox facing off against a Rem again with Mirage. So very similar to what they did in a previous game. They're likely to have the Rem make some plays once the boxes spawn. He's going to do some box running and then move over to a lane to help out. While Mirage is going to sit here like a rock and refuse to move from lane, and the enemies will not be able to push him out of lane because Mirage has so much self-sustain in the laning phase. Moving on to the right side of the map, we have a McGinnis and Calico facing off against an Apollo and a Warden. So, I want to say Apollo is one of the strongest lane bullies in the game that can just aggressively attack heroes and force them into a bad position. One of the strongest counters to Apollo is any hero that has really strong early game, just stand and deliver capabilities. McGinnis is great at that. McGinnis is very good at just standing there and saying, I will shoot you, and winning the trade. So this is not a good lane for Apollo, and I wish they would swap Apollo's lane to a different lane right now so that Apollo could actually apply the pressure that he's good at applying. I actually do think that this lane is in favor of the McGinnis Calico overall. Not by much, but overall. Rem's running those boxes. Will there be a opportunity presented for Rem to maybe get involved into some sort of scuffle? So far, no. Everyone's running boxes. Viscous fighting 2v1 for the time being as Abrams runs boxes. Cube to dodge several spells. Viscous, perfectly fine. Turns around, gets a great parry onto the Celeste. Wall charge is going to land onto the Pocket, and a lot of damage comes to Pocket as well. Neither of them are going to die, and the first blood actually goes the way of Venator. Venator makes a rotation. That is not a hero that rotates. Nobody expects Venator to show up in their lane out of nowhere.
Rem's missing.
And, well, that's a good first blood for them. Chase down onto the Calico, potentially. 2 hits, 1 left of flawless advance. Calico brought very low, but not finished off. She's going to get back to safety. She'll just run some boxes and hope she doesn't run into Rem in the meantime.
Your mind.
We live in interesting times, don't we?
No one expects the Irish Inquisition. I guess that fits for Venator, yeah. Now, Mr. Abrams, your gun is not very good at long range, sir. Look at that, 8 damage. A piddly 8 damage. Celeste and Pocket do have a ton of spirit damage between them, and there's actually kind of some unique levels of synergy between the two. Celeste's Radiant Daggers give Spirit Amp on the target. I think it's only for Celeste, though, right? Yeah, only for Celeste. Okay. I thought for a second, does that increase the Spirit Amp on the target for everyone? Like at a lesser rate for the allies? No, it's just Celeste. Never mind. Not the synergy that I was touting it to be. I had to double check. So far, a fairly quiet laning stage. 1 kill in the side of the melee creeps, and that's it for action so far.
I see Warden.
That being said, Abrams is taking a fair bit of damage, not able to get anywhere on top of the opponents. Affliction does come out. Abrams taking a ton of damage from Pocket now as he burns away, and eventually Pocket's going to hit a parry. Abrams goes down. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, there is a McGinnis brought extremely low. Viscous gets taken down as well by the team of Pocket and Celeste. Paradox coming from the side. Kinetic Carbine charged. And it looks like that's going to be a trade. Celeste will not survive. A good rotation by Paradox salvages a little bit of this lane. And in the meantime, Venador was taken down in the middle lane by the Mirage and the Rem. McGinnis takes a huge amount of damage as Mirage uses the ultimate to travel on over and help the allies. McGinnis taken down by the heavy melee. Mirage makes a good rotation, good use of that ultimate. All right, and just like that, Popper's Pupils take 2 Guardians across the map. One on the left, one on the right. And, well, they're going to lose Rem in the middle lane for it. Probably going to lose that middle lane Guardian as well, but they're feeling pretty darn good about that trade. Great decisions on where to go, who to send, coming out from the side of Popper's Pupils. Uh-oh, Rem coming through. Lands a pillow. Damage coming in. Venator fighting for his life. Cube keeping him up. Mirage taking a fair bit of damage. Has to get healed by the Rem. Uh-oh, stun's coming through. It looks like Mirage might die. 50 HP. Can he turn it around? Heavy melee for distance. Actually gets the heal. He'll be fine. How about Rem, though? Parry onto the Paradox. Looks like she'll be forced to back out from that. Man, Venator being able to get out of there was very, very close. Viscous coming in to save the day. Very good team play. All right, the final Guardian on the side of melee creeps is taken without much ceremony. Popper's Pupils just bring the numbers. Take it down quick and easy. We do have 10-minute bridge buffs coming soon. Looks like Celeste and Apollo are going to cover this side. Meanwhile, on the right side of the map, there might be a fight. Calico charging in to try and contest there, but it looks like it's going to be Venator getting parried. Did he get the buff, though? No. Did Rem get the buff? Rem took the buff. Gun buff Rem. Go get him, boys. Gun buff Rem getting the kill. That gun buff made the difference, and the fight, the ensuing fight is actually going pretty darn in favor of melee creeps, though. They get the 2 pickoffs. Warden pops the ultimate to push them back, and with the Mirage coming through, it looks like they're not going to be able to continue pressuring. But the urn, first urn of the game, grabbed by Celeste. She's chasing down McGinnis, has the ultimate bouncing, and McGinnis will die. With 6 stacks of Radiant Daggers right now. Oh my goodness. That is so much bonus Spirit Amp. 42% bonus Spirit Amp, man. Calico in the area. Abrams in the area, gets slept. They're going to turn things around. Went for the heavy melee, didn't quite catch, but Abrams gets saved by the Goo Man, the Cube. Parry comes out. Abrams killed. Huge bag dropped. Ripped up by the Mirage. A massive bounty in the pockets on the side of Popper's Pupils. And it looks like the urn's not going to be delivered.
Well, are you going to introduce me to your lovely friend or not?
And that's fine, I suppose. First urn of the game doesn't give you a whole lot. Yep, expired just before they had a chance to get it. Meanwhile, on the left side of the map, there is a Void Rift opening. And actually, a bit of a scuffle going on. They found McGinnis. Flawless advance being used to get back up to the top. Celeste fighting in the underground, silenced by the time wall of Paradox and taken down very quickly. Rem brought low, Rem brought down. But in the meantime, the unstable rift was taken very quickly by Pocket, just standing there with nobody contesting. So these Void Troopers are going to be very aggressively pushing. It's going to take a couple of heroes to cover that. Do they get anything off the map from it other than the money? Doesn't look like it. They're not even aggressively posturing into the enemy jungle to try and farm or anything. Let's take a look at the game. It is 8-9 in kills, 62k to 60k in net worth. The game is quite even at the moment. Calico having a pretty decent start for herself. If we take a look at these trophy collector stacks, she's got 5 going for herself at this 13-minute mark. That's pretty darn nice.
Within hours on cooldown.
That means that the trophy collector is actually giving stuff that's about worth 1,600. They found Apollo. All of a sudden, he teleports in. He did not expect the enemy heroes to be there. He is able to get out pretty quickly. Rem there to keep him healthy as well. Daka.
Headed to Greenwich.
Got a Quicksilver reload over on the side of McGinnis here. Now she's able to reload that large magazine of hers a lot faster. They found a pickoff on the right side of the map, catching Celeste unawares. McGinnis moving over to try and contest this. Uh-oh, the wall! The wall! You closed off your own retreat! McGinnis is dead, exploding to the Mirage damage, and now they're going to steal a huge bag. Another massive bounty on that kill. Looks like he canceled the Traveler. Over on the right side of the map, Venator getting a little bit too far pushed up. Heroes make their way over and kill him. Standard Pocket lane farming. Throw the cloak behind yourself, clear out the wave, and teleport out. Now, if the enemy team ever makes the move to put someone around where the cloak goes, you know, a Calico +1 hiding around the corner, that could be a pretty easy pickoff. It's usually what you see from the teams that are shutting Pocket down so consistently. Okay, so a mobility bridge buff being picked up on the left side for probably the Abrams is going to pick it up. No, Abrams is teleporting away. Maybe the McGinnis is going to pick it up. All right, McGinnis takes it. On the right side of the map, what was the buff? I know that one of these guys took it.
I see Venator.
It was a gun buff, and Mirage is the one that took it. Having used the tornado to get Abrams out of his face, and Abrams is just going to get chased down. Exploding to the Jin's mark from Mirage. On the left side of the map, Celeste delivering the urn. Actually gets it knocked out of her back, and a really nice wall setup. Good steal on the urn. Thieves. Melee creeps thieving that away. Here comes the ultimate from the Warden. They're being forced back. Warden chasing down. Can he get anyone? Mobility and survivability are just enough for the melee creeps to get out. That was a slick steal on the urn. It does, however, eventually cost them the right side of the map. Pressure was mounted and the walker goes down. Pocket's fine. Pocket's fine. Wait, seismic impact. Abrams coming through. Abrams dropping the big elbow down. Rem is the one who winds up being caught and finds a quick charge into a swap onto the Mirage. Tornadoing away, but I don't think he's getting out of there. Traveler? No, not in time. 2 quick pickoffs near mid-boss. You know what this means. Mid-boss being called for the melee creeps. They're going to have to send their heroes over there as fast as they can, but first, They gotta cover some waves. Wait, they might actually be fighting. They find a charge onto the Pocket. Pocket taking a lot of damage. The cube is gonna keep Abrams safe for the time being. Goofist knocks Abrams back to a safe position. He gets around the corner. He's gonna be okay. They're diving in onto the Warden. The Kitty Cat and the Goo Ball coming through, doing a lot of damage. Abrams eventually does wind up falling. And all of a sudden, Popper's Pupils are the ones making the call for mid-boss as Abrams dies. Okay, Rejuvenator starting to drop. Will melee creeps steal a bunch of them like they have been? Huge Affliction comes out. So far, nobody has even touched the crystal. 2 go the way of Popper's Pupils, 1 go the way of melee creeps. Popper's Pupils get the better of it this time around. A chase down onto the Venator. He gets slept and killed off, but Abrams diving in, hitting 4 heroes into the wall with a big punch. Rem is gonna go down. They lost all Rejuvenators so far, but there's only 2 heroes left on the side of melee creeps as Popper's Pupils are routed by the end of it. Can Abrams get himself free? No, there's just too much slow, too much lockdown, and down goes the big blue man. Popper's Pupils get themselves a nice 14k net worth lead off of that mid-boss and ensuing fight. Starting to break away from their opponents.
Delightful. I will not fall.
Oh, well, that's cute. Surge of power onto the willpower ability to just get a bigger, stronger barrier. Kind of surprising. Usually you see Surge of Power put onto Alchemical Flask because it's very spammable. And it does damage, and so it helps the damage, you know? All right, there's a rift spawning on the right side of the map. Right now, the only heroes in the vicinity are a couple of melee creeps heroes, the Viscous and the Venador. There's not a concerted effort to go over there. There's actually a concerted effort onto this Apollo. He takes a fair bit of damage, but looks like Rem is there to back him up and keep him alive. Tagging along, not going to wind up getting too much in terms of aggressive play. Rift left for the melee creeps. They take it for free. Pocket going in, getting a little bit of clear on there, and with Warden making his way over, they should be able to hold this Walker without too much issue. More than enough damage, more than enough clear. And look who's got the urn. It's Popper's Pupils again. Celeste carrying it. Will melee creeps attempt to steal it once more? Ooh, good counter, very quickly done by the Apollo. It's not particularly hard, but maybe timing the end of the shadows from Calico can be a little difficult. The sleep from Rem, holding Calico in place long enough that allies can get to the area. You're not finishing that teleport. You're dead. And Venador, in the meantime, also getting killed off by the combined efforts of Pocket and Warden.
You have a kind spirit, Rem.
Celeste gets a free urn delivery. It's going to be a little bit cheaper than a full value urn. Lost a little bit of value in the transport time, but hey, they got the urn, they got the extra money, they got the extra boons, and they've got themselves a 20k net worth lead at 21 minutes. That's hard to overcome. It's not often that we see professional play where someone is able to turn the game around from this sort of deficit. Calico hunting Mirage. Actually finds some damage onto him. He instantly clears the slowing hex with the debuff remover and just gets out of there. Meanwhile, Apollo getting pressured by McGinnis. Doesn't look like it's going to come to anything. As Warden makes a rotation in, they wouldn't want to anyway. McGinnis versus Warden. Calico there to make it an uneven match, but here comes Apollo over the top, landing a lot of damage into the McGinnis. McGinnis is going to get caged. She actually purges it from herself, cleanses it even. Itani Lo-san hits McGinnis, and she will be executed.
Let's go yellow.
They thought they were getting a 2v1 onto the Warden, but Apollo comes in and evens the odds, which winds up being very in favor of Pauper's Pupils, considering their net worth lead. Speaking of, here comes the push onto this Walker, and it is getting shredded by the Warden. Okay, Warden loses a lot of HP very quickly from Paradox. Paradox's Kinetic Carbine doing a lot of damage. Iradomini popped on the other side of the map. A counterspell keeping the father alive for a moment. Does not land that crossbow bolt. Pocket is fine.
It's dangerous out here.
Back on the left side of the map, this Walker looks like it's going down. Second round of pressure as Rem came in and doled out some heals. More than enough to take that Walker down. There's only one Walker left for the side of Pauper's Pupils to take. I expect them to rotate to the mid lane relatively soon and start pushing that. Unless they want to wait for mid-boss to spawn first.
Headed to Broadway.
Over a 25k net worth advantage in favor of Pauper's Pupils right now. They are just killing it. It being melee creeps. They're getting killed a lot.
I gotta spin these souls.
Please don't bolt in my shot.
Echo Shard picked up for Rem, definitely going on tag along.
I see McGinnis.
All right, the second mid-boss of the game has spawned. We are reaching 25 minutes soon, which means before mid-boss will come bridge buffs. Over on the right side of the map, Pauper's Pupils have Celeste sitting at this Burge buff. Okay, a kitty cat coming on through, trying to contest, but she's going to get it real quick. Backs out, has a movement buff. Over on the left side of the map, there's a bit of a fight going on. Looks like everyone's going to get away. Who got the buff? Viscous got the buff, a vitality buff. I don't think that's going to do a great deal for Viscous, honestly. They'd much rather have that on the Abrams. Or the Venator. Or the McGinnis. Speaking of Venator, he's taking a lot of damage, and he's dead. He was right in the pathway of the urn, trying to contest it, I suppose, but,
Headed to Broadway.
doesn't work out that well for him, as unbeknownst to them, Pauper's Pupils just brought everyone. And it looks like Pauper's Pupils might be giving up that left side Walker for pressure on mid-boss, as they are filing into the underground area. Wall from McGinnis is going to cut off some of the allies for the Warden, but the Warden is just going to pop the last stand and charge on through, healing up more damage than he's taken. Warden is perfectly fine. More than half of his health left after all is said and done. And another victorious fight for Pauper's Pupils as they take down two and pressure the mid-boss, and I don't know if there's going to be much of a chance for the side of melee creeps to fight this. All right, and the tornado's going through. Keep all three of them available. Paradox tries for a swap, a cheeky swap to get them out of the way, but not in time. Too little, too late.
York is under attack.
We have a 30k net worth lead, 3 rejuvenators. I think that Popper's Pupils are probably setting up to put a close to this game within the next couple of minutes during this Rejuvenator time. Or at least getting the base Guardians and the Shrines. No, I guess the very least would be getting that last Walker, but I'm sure they're going to get a little more than that off of this. We got a Void Rift spawning over on the left side of the map. The next urn will also spawn on the left side of the map, and they're bringing the numbers over here. McGinnis already in. They're taking it rather fast, but Popper's Pupils, they've got the numbers coming as well. It's going to be a full 5 or 6-man versus 6-man fight as the last heroes make their way in. So far, it is a Rift secure in favor of melee creeps. Popper's Pupils have to let it go. There was just a little bit too much setup for melee creeps, but they're going to try for the chase down. Viscous, pretty mobile, using those goo punches. Pocket keeping up, gonna actually finish off the goo man.
Let's take out Abrams.
Abrams, will he be able to get out? In the meantime, while Viscous was getting chased down, they lost Venator, they lost Calico. It looks like they're about to lose Abrams. So sure, you got the Void Rift, but you lost all of your heroes. Was it worth it? I don't think so. All right, back to the middle of the map. Base Guardians and Walker being pressured. Popper's Pupils sitting at a huge net worth advantage for themselves. 40,000 just about. I don't think that these shrines are long for this world. Warden is hitting hard. Rem popping the ultimate, gets a sleep onto the Paradox. Paradox taking a lot of damages. Celeste flies in, and the ultimate from Celeste bounces a little bit, but it's not nearly enough. Paradox able to get back to safety. But this is enough pressure to get them that second shrine. Only the patron left over. Too much lockdown and damage coming out for the Paradox. She's already brought incredibly low, and she's going to be finished off. The goo cube is not enough to save her. McGinnis actually does make it back to base. They've lost a couple of the Rejuvenators on this push, but they've still got one left. Only half a patron to go, and they're forcing melee creeps to stay in the base. Melee creeps have to push out. They have to have someone in the contesting circle to prevent the damage from coming out. They've got the cube in there, and that's it. They're sending in McGinnis as well. McGinnis trying to fight back. They're missing 2 heroes. It's a 6v4. It's a 6v2. It's over. Any second now. It's all over but the crying. Itani Losan coming through. Hits a wall. All 6 heroes dead. Popper's Pupils take it in a 2-0 fashion. Looking very strong tonight. And hey, we actually got reason why Pocket is worth banning once in a while. 2 games where Pocket actually looked good. Very different from the last, 9 games that we saw Pocket sneak through, where Pocket just got dominated. Popper's Pupils playing Pocket a lot better, I want to say, than some of their opponents in pro play. I feel like a lot of pro players haven't been practicing Pocket much, and that's probably why Pocket was, not looking particularly good in a lot of games. That's definitely part of it. Another part of it is melee creeps just kind of gifted Pocket a good lane setup both games. There was a little more pushback in this game, but not much. Pocket was given a relatively easy lane to lane against and was able to just continue applying pressure. And a lot of what we see from the teams that let Pocket through on purpose and then have a counter strategy for it, they specifically set up lanes to make Pocket's life hard and slow Pocket in the early game, because that slow start kind of echoes its way through the following passages of the game, you could say. And so when Pocket's got a slow start, Pocket's got to spend more time farming. When Pocket's got to spend more time farming, that's less time Pocket can make rotations and try and make plays, and that's more time for your team to just continue getting farm for themselves without feeling the pressure of one of your lanes being pushed in very aggressively and not being able to catch the hero too easily. And another thing we see teams that shut Pocket down do is they'll set up, like, receiving heroes. They know Pocket's going to push this upcoming wave. So they got, like, a Calico Cat sneaking back, keeping eyes on the cloak, and at least one other hero with them. And then when Pocket flies back on the cloak, there's just a slowing Hex Calico waiting for them to hit them, and then whatever follow-up is enough to kill them. We never saw any of that either. There was no Pocket plan. And if you give the hero a completely free game, yes, Pocket can run a lobby. It's just not very often that we see Pocket given a completely free game, and we saw it twice in a row here. No pushback on the hero whatsoever, and the hero does look good when it's allowed to do whatever it wants. When Pocket's allowed to do literally anything that the player wants to, then yeah, Pocket's very strong. But you could say that about any hero in the game, honestly. We also saw Apollo kind of crush a lot of these fights. Rem once more does quite a bit of healing, not quite as much as game number 1, where it was a ridiculous 64,000. But all in all, Popper's Pupils wound up being the 2-0 team, and they looked like they were the team that deserved to 2-0, as Melee Creeps just kind of floundered both games. If we take a look at the graphs, yeah. The game was very even, but around 5 minutes or so, Popper's Pupils started to get a small advantage, and then that small advantage never went away and eventually grew into a large advantage. Well done by Popper's Pupils taking it 2-0. Congratulations to them. And that's it for tonight's Deadlock Night Shift. I hope you guys enjoyed those professional matches of Deadlock. I do think Deadlock is a pretty fun game to watch professionals play in. To watch coordinated play in. We will be doing it again next week if all goes to plan. For now, though, thanks again for watching. Have a great rest of your night, everyone, and I'll see you later. Bye.